if you look at today's international politics, it's not about random headlines. It follows an underlying pattern. And that pattern is largely driven by the US power choices. And a scholar famously argued that IR is an American social science. The international relation is all about a kind of American social science, which means what? If you want to decode the global order, you need to start by decoding American foreign policy documents, especially the national security strategy. Because if you see this national security strategy, it's like a policy compass, and that tells you what the US fear and what it prioritize and where it will step back, right? So you will get a very clear idea about it. So what I'm going to do here is I'll be talking about how the foreign policy of US have evolved from 1919 onwards. In fact, pre 1919 also will discuss, and then how it evolved from there onwards, right? So let's see. This is this period up till 1919. That period is what you call as Monroe Doctrine era. Okay, so US have followed a very simple logic of isolationism. Don't get trapped in global conflicts. You have to focus on your internal priorities, your own domestic growth, right? So this was the priority. So the internal development, internal growth, and don't get into the global conflicts. But keep your neighborhood secure so that no external power should dominate the American continent. So basically, Monroe Doctrine is not, not a peace-loving US, right? It's a kind of selective engagement. You avoid Europe, but dominate in your backyard. So this is about Monroe Doctrine, and that's what US have followed till 1919. So again, if you look at the phase two, so that's the Pax Americana. That's the post World War II. You can say that's the phase two. Global leadership is shifting to US. Something changes drastically by 1918, 19. If you see, US starts taking bigger global role. This Wilson's 14 points. These are very important. I know. I hope you know the details of it. But the real shift that's going to happen after World War II, right? The beginning started from 1918, 19, but the real shift after World War II, and US becomes architect of the global or the world order, and US started building institutions, norms, values-based legitimacy, and this is what we call as Pax Americana. US as rule maker plus enforcer. That's what I mean by Pax Americana. So here, a key Cold War expression, that's what the Truman Doctrine, right? US will actively intervene to protect democracy or human rights. Now, from the UPSC point of view, if you look at it, this is not just idealism. This is about power. It's about identity and also domestic political economy. Why? Because US policy is mainly driven by the manifest destiny narrative and the military industrial complex, right? And then the power elites. This concept we have, in fact, discussed, especially in sociology, the concept of power elites given by C. Wright Mills. So, values and interest that basically operate together. Now, coming to the phase three. This is a unipolar moment, right? So, US have overstretched and there is a drift from multipolar setup. So after 1991, the world is called unipolar. US becomes extremely unilateral at times, and then, but still comes a classic balance of power correction. US gets overstretched in long wars, and other powers like Russia, China, India, Brazil, you see BRICS, etc., they are rising. And that is why global discourse is shifting to multipolarity. Now let's look at the present scenario, new Monroe Doctrine. That's the 2025, right? So what is actually happening now? The most important concept that I want to discuss in today's lecture is this. What is this new Monroe Doctrine and what is this narrative is all about? It means like what US is saying is we cannot be the global policeman. They accepted that. We must have to withdraw, rebuild domestically and secure our neighborhood first. And this is a strategic retreat. It's not a defeat in one battle, but it's a recognition of the resource limits, the domestic polarization, the border vulnerabilities, and cost of global commitments. Right. Again, let's also understand why Latin America becomes central again and important again. Where US vulnerability starts, US vulnerability basically starts from Mexico to South America. So because of this porous border, migration, drug trafficking, and security stress, right? All these are the main issues. And other than that, you have some external influence also, like China and Russia gaining space over there. So the US basically reverts to the classic geopolitics: control your backyard first. And this is a kind of Kautilya style analogy which I can give in mandala thinking. Immediate vulnerabilities are decisive. So you need to focus on the immediate vulnerabilities. So there is an ideological shift, right? And this is, in fact, the most exam worthy point that I'm going to discuss. Earlier, in fact, USF projected itself as promoter of democracy or protector of human right and exporter of liberal values. But now the strategy signals what? There is a change. Cultures are each nation's choice, right? And US should not impose the cultural values. So what does that indicate? The legitimacy crisis of liberal interventionism and rise of civilizational politics and domestic fatigue with the moral policing abroad. So this is a major shift from American exceptionalism to selective realism. Right. So now there is an ideological shift from value imposition to cultural neutrality. Very important point. Now let's also discuss about China, right, and India, other countries, Europe. So again, very important when it comes to UPSC. See, China is an economic competitor more than a strategic rival at this moment. If a strategy, in fact, frames China mainly as economic competitor, in fact, in terms of what? It could be trade, it could be technology, it could be supply chains, right? That could be the primary area. Security confrontation tone may be moderated, at least rhetorically. So the great power competition is shifting from pure military to, I would say, geo-economics. China is now more of an economic competitor, right? So that's how you need to take it. And then when it comes to India, again, the preferences are diluted. India Pacific is that issue is always there. India is not given high preference beyond that Indo-Pacific context suggest, right? The transactional partnership and India expected to play the regional balancing role, but not necessarily treated as a central pillar globally. So India, if you see, have to or must have to build strategic autonomy and diversify partnerships, avoid over dependence on one pole. Now coming to Europe, that's the biggest security challenge. If US steps back, then Europe security again becomes the stress point. There will be burden on sharing debates, right? And then NATO cohesion questions, and Ukraine, Russia, that style insecurity, right? So these are again there, and that will reshape the global energy markets, and that will have impact on the defense spending and various political impact like alliance politics and other things, and also India's relation with EU and Russia. So the things that we have discussed, how you're going to use in your GS answers, UPSC answers, GS2 or IR, right? This is where these questions you will be getting. So there is a global order transition. What does that mean? Unipolar to multipolar. US foreign policy have shifted. This policy is what I have discussed: isolationism versus interventionism. I hope you understood that. And then the strategic retreat. They have realized that it's overstretched and don't want to share the burden sharing, and the domestic constraints are also there, and that's also getting accepted. So there is a change in policy. And then regionalism, neighborhood first, that's the priority now. And then there is a shift, like the soft power shift from value export to cultural pluralism or neutrality. And then the great power politics, geoeconomics, that spheres, that's more important, more than a strategic enemy or anything. China is a economic competitor. That's what I mean by, most importantly, the geoeconomics and spheres of influence. So I can give you one important line which you can directly write in your mains. US strategy reflect a shift from global norm enforcement, which means Pax Americana, to sphere-focused realism. That means new Monroe Doctrine. So US strategy, in fact, shows a shift from Pax Americana to new Monroe Doctrine, which is driven by overstretch and domestic constraints. Right. What could be the possible questions that they can ask? They can ask you, discuss the shift from Pax Americana to the New Monroe Doctrine and its implication for the global order. Or they can ask you, how do domestic political economy factors in fact shape US foreign policy? Explain with suitable example. Or they can ask you, in a multipolar world, evaluate India's strategic options with US retrenchment and China's rise and all these. Or they can ask you, is the liberal international order in retreat? Analyze with reference to US national security strategy. First two is easy, the other two shaped in slightly difficult manner. So guys, the national security strategy is not just a document, it's actually a global signal. And if you understand this shift, you can predict the global alignments, you can frame better answers in your GS2 and essay, and you can connect all the events, current events, to the deeper patterns also. Right. So these are the things that I want to discuss. I hope you got some value. Thank you so much. I see you later.